Kai Sotto is the country's best bet for a pure-blooded Filipino to make it to the NBA. What would it take for him to get to that level or even succeed? We'll talk about that in a bit. This is Chip from Game High, and if you like this video, don't forget to press the subscribe button below.
Despite being in a basketball-crazy country, no native-born Filipino has ever made it to the NBA. Most people attribute this fact to the lack of height, athleticism, and even talent. Where Filipinos have the heart and passion, the fundamental skills and shooting leave much to be desired. Though ever since we fell in love with the game of basketball, some big names toyed with the idea, but no one really ever came close. A respected basketball coach summed up our predicament. If we offer the same thing to the NBA, and we are smaller relative to the others, then most Filipino players, however talented and skilled, only have a small chance of making it to the NBA. It seems the choice boils down to being super gifted athletically, having a great set of skills that will separate that player from the rest, or height, for which basketball, in great part of its history, is much all about. Then, there's Kai Sotto. A few years ago, he was discovered as a junior player, extremely tall for his age. Though he was not that athletically gifted nor superbly skilled, he had one thing which you cannot teach anyone in the game: height. Everything in basketball you can teach, but his height gives him a chance to be an asset for any team. All of a sudden, this country's dream of having a full-blooded Filipino to play in the NBA is alive again. After some years abroad and many twists and turns, we finally saw him in action in the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers. A lot of people were impressed with the way he conducted himself on the court and battled those Korean bigs, including their import, Ricardo Ratliff. The question still remains: is the performance of Kai Sotto enough for us to be positive about his chances of making it to the NBA? Today, we will assess his recent performance and discuss a few things he needs for him to realize his NBA aspirations. Kai improved a lot since the last time he was in the Philippines. He moved with confidence and had no trouble bringing down the ball. He showed some flashes of brilliance inside the paint, as well as some unorthodox moves which probably wowed even those who remain in doubt. He showed some speed and agility, which, for a player of his height, could already be considered as impressive. Considering the preparation, some chemistry issues, his limited exposure as well as playing time, he conducted himself pretty well, helping Gilas Pilipinas eke out 2 hard-earned victories against the Koreans. But there are some facets of his game which still need a lot of improvement, and these are truly vital for him to make it eventually to the NBA. As good as his performance against the Koreans, the issues are pretty much obvious, even to the casual observers, and he needs to improve on them to have an even greater chance of making it to the big league. So what part of his game needs improvement? Number 1, strength. He may have gained some strength as he trained in the US for the past few years, but in this aspect, what he really needs is a quantum leap. Being strong is not enough. His strength must be that of an NBA player, or at least at par with those who are playing in the league, especially now that he's 7'3". A player as tall as him will not make an impact if he does not have the strength and power to bang with other NBA bigs. What if he is tasked to guard MVP Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, or bang bodies with Clint Capella or Jonas Valanciunas? What if he gets trapped in a pick-and-roll play and suddenly finds himself alone against a rampaging LeBron James who is built like Karl Malone? These are not far-fetched scenarios, as these are real possibilities that he must ponder, for those are exactly what will be waiting for him in the NBA. He stood his ground against the Korean bigs, but it may not be enough. He He cannot allow himself to be pushed around and bumped as he fights for all those loose balls. He must maintain balance and stability as he posts up, sets screens, or fights against it in the defensive end. Finally, he must hold his own to be able to score and be a real, reliable inside threat for those who will get his services once he makes himself available for the NBA draft. The good news is, he still has 2 years to get stronger, and he has the NBL in Australia to prepare himself for all those shoving and banging in the NBA. He can still bulk up and ready himself against the NBA's bruisers and other elite big men. Number 2, shooting. Maybe Kai Sotto was not able to show his perimeter game during the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, but he must have those in his arsenal for him to be a real threat, coupled with his inside presence. As exhibited by those European bigs who came to the NBA and gave the traditional big men a run for their money, he should follow suit by having such weapons, not to mention at least a decent outside shot. It will be a great compliment once he also developed the strength and power inside. Think Nikola Jokic or Marc Gasol. We may be aiming for the stars here, but wouldn't it be nice to have him play alongside LeBron James, Chris Paul, Luka Doncic, or even Kawhi Leonard? They have given opposing players nightmares when it comes to the deadly pick and roll, and will be ideal partners to someone like Kai, a big man who can cut inside while having rage from deep. Kai could be that perfect complement to any superstar player. He could be that ideal threat, the one who the defense will not leave alone, allowing his superstar teammates go on isolation plays come crunch time. A big man with a soft touch can be a game changer at any given moment, and if he develops that part of his game, he could be a great tandem to play with. Big question is, can he make it to the NBA? There is absolutely no doubt that once he develops strength and power to go along with that shooting range, he will not only make it to the NBA, but may also be at least a serviceable big man or potentially one of the elites. But everything depends on what will happen during the next year or two. His chances of making it are anchored eventually on his performance in the NBL in Australia. Ultimately, once he improves further and he performs above par in that league, he can make it. But until that happens, you just have to wait. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our Game High YouTube channel and share your thoughts below in the comment section. We also have our Facebook and Instagram pages at The Game High PH. Do check us out on Spotify for a podcast on sports, video games, and everything in between. Until then, cheers!